All right. So you listened to that Ten Commandments episode. So you heard me talk about my code word with my daughter.
Yeah,
And
strawberry. I remember it.
for those of you who are new to this, when my daughter was first moving up to U12 soccer, it was U11, U12, she was 9 years old, newer field, bigger field. Her coach was teaching her not to drift too far on the field, and she was struggling with it. And we had a conversation. I'm like, do you want me to help you? Do you not want me to help you? And she's like, yeah, I actually would like some help. So we developed a code word where I said strawberry, and that let her know that she had gone too far. Anytime I post that online, all these coaches come in and say, well, just let the coach coach. You should coach instead. That's actually coaching from the sideline. And my argument is if a 9-year-old has the self-awareness to say, Dad, I need help, and the goal is in support of what the coach is coaching to train the kid, a code word there is actually very helpful. Division I coach, you tell me, what are your thoughts on that? You can tell me I'm wrong.
No, I like it too, especially for youth sports, because I think there's a blending of what a parent is to a youth athlete versus a college athlete. Okay, so let me take for example, we have a very similar experience. So on a former team that we had code words amongst the players was serving. I think serving in volleyball is it's one of the most stressful things you can do. There's 12 people on the court. They're all looking at you executing this one skill where you're in control of all of it. It's one of the hardest mental things to do in volleyball. But we had code words amongst the players of like, you go back to serve, and it would be like the Navy SEAL thing I talked about. It'd be a word like momentum or something like that to kind of get you to click. But to me, that's very, very similar to what we did at the Division I level. It's just that, the parent kind of, I think, does kind of fill that role of like, they're still kind of, they're their guardian and they're their supporter and they're all these different things. So for me, coming from the athlete, I think is the number one thing where it was asked for from the athlete. And then the fact that it's kind of, for lack of a better term, like a silly thing. It's almost a silly reset as opposed to would you rather I'm yelling your name, which a lot of times is going to get you to look, and then I'm yelling details that you have to kind of process as opposed to like strawberry. And it's like, oh, okay. It's just like a little reset or a click. So for me personally, I think that's one of the more healthy ways to go about that as a parent who really just wants to help your kid. You just want to help your kid be the best that they can be. So
And the goal was to
I'm in
teach her
favor
how
of it.
to, the goal was to teach her in a way that doesn't require it. And so within a season, like that was the fall season, the spring season, she won the award on her team for being in the right spot throughout the year.
There you
She
go.
just needed to learn. And so the goal was
Yeah.
never to do it long term. It was just as a kid is learning a new skill, like my 9-year-old had the self awareness to say, I need help. Can you help me? What parent is saying no to that?
Yeah,
And the flip
exactly.
side of it, I've said this to a couple people. What recreation level coach is going to be so arrogant as to say, no, dad, don't help your daughter who asked for it because even though it's the same thing I'm teaching her, it should come from me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And the example I used earlier, where there was coaching from the sidelines, where I'm trying to coach kind of youth volleyball, I think that would probably be a healthier way to go about it. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to help, and if they're
Mm-hmm.
yelling their name and yelling specific things, it becomes distracting. It's a lot to process. But it's like, hey, if we can come up with a code word of something that I'm supporting you, and it's maybe one thing we talked about earlier. I'll be the first one to say, if you haven't coached and you're struggling as a sports parent, like try to coach because what you'll find out is that you're watching, for me in volleyball, I'm watching if it's our roster 16 players, if it's the court, it's 6 players, but let's just call it 16. So I got two eyes for 16 players. Well, a lot of times I've got one or two parents watching just one player because I know for me, when I go to watch my kid play, I just watch them and I watch a little bit of the game, but I'm watching my kid. And then if my wife's there, we're both watching the kids. So we got 4 eyes on one player and the coach has 2 eyes for 16 players. So it's like clearly there's going to be a difference in what we process and the coach has to kind of see the big picture versus the small. So it's always going to be different. And so again, if it's a connection between the parent and the kid, and it does come from the kid, I think that's a pretty healthy way of being a really good supporter. So I like it. I think it's pretty creative.